My name's Adam, and I'm driving through a park at 11:30 at night. It's pitch black except for my headlights cutting through the trees. The app says I'm 3 minutes away from the delivery spot, but there's nothing out here except a playground and some picnic tables. This was back when I was doing deliveries for an app called Dibs. They say bad things happen in threes, and I have to agree. First, I lost my warehouse job to a robot that doesn't need lunch breaks or health insurance. Then the whole GameStop thing blew up in my face. I lost my savings. Classic Adam move, buy high, sell low. My landlord's texts about rent were piling up. I had exactly 1 month before it kicked me out. So now I'm delivering pizzas to creepy parks at midnight. It didn't look like my luck was about to change anytime soon. My check engine light had been on for 2 weeks, and the repo man had already left his little courtesy call. Without wheels, no deliveries. Without deliveries, no apartment. Without an apartment, well, you get it. The app pings. You've arrived at your destination. Huh? There's just this one guy on a bench near the playground. Hoodie pulled up, hands in his pockets. Great. Either I'm about to get robbed or this dude's waiting for a different kind of delivery. I roll down my window just enough to call out, "Dibs delivery for Damien?" He doesn't say anything, just waves me over. I'm close enough to see that his right hand, his waving hand, has a bandage where the thumb should be. I considered flooring it out of there, but I didn't. I handed over the pizza like a good little delivery boy I was. And that's how the whole thing started. The hooded stranger set the pizza box down on the bench where he'd just been sitting. He opened the top so it was facing towards me. The steam escaped and mingled with the misty rain that had been gently falling for the last hour. Inside the lid of the box, scrawled in black marker, was this message. You've been given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Succeed, and you'll finally earn the confidence you've always dreamed about, along with quite a bit of money. You'll be tasked with 6 challenges, each with increasing intensity, as well as larger payouts. Complete all 6, and you'll become a confident, rich man. Or walk away and go back to a life you hate with nothing to show for it. Your first challenge begins now. I blinked, rereading the scrawled message, trying to make sense of it. Was this a joke? A scam? My phone pinged with a notification. I glanced down at the screen. It was a new Dibs delivery request. The address was here, in the same park. In the delivery notes where people usually wrote stuff like, no mayo, it said, monkey bars. Cross back and forth 10 times without touching the ground. You have 5 minutes to complete the task and receive a generous tip. I looked up to see if anyone was watching. The hooded stranger was gone. I was alone in the rain. I wiped my hands on the inside of my shirt to dry them and headed for the monkey bars. Rain had made the metal slick, more of my crummy luck. My first attempt was pathetic. I made it halfway across before my grip slipped and I landed in a puddle. I was a lot better at this when I was 7. I thought about going home, but then I thought pretty soon there won't be a home to go back to. The fear of homelessness made me try it again. On the second try, I got all the way across. 1 down, 9 to go. At number 4, my arms were on fire. By number 7, I wasn't sure if the water on my face was rain or sweat. On number 9, I almost quit. My fingers were numb, shoulders were screaming at me to just drop. But something kept me going. Maybe it was the money, maybe it was that line in the pizza box about going back to the life I hated. Whatever it was, it lit a fire in me. When I finished the 10th lap, I just hung there for a second, breathing hard. I half expected some weirdo to jump out clapping or filming me for some prank channel. Nothing. Just the empty park, the rain, and me feeling like an idiot. I dropped to the ground and my phone pinged immediately. $200 tip received. Unreal. $200 for swinging at some monkey bars? It didn't make any sense, but I wasn't about to question it. My car payment was overdue. I jogged back to my car, giving a Breakfast Club fist pump in the air. I was high on my first win. The pizza box with the weird message was still on the passenger seat where I'd left it. I tossed it in the back, cranked the heat, and just sat there for a minute, waiting for my forearms to relax. Before I could even decide what to do next, I got another delivery request. The address was across town, a cemetery. Yikes. The delivery notes just said, East Fence, Section C. Find the grave with the red and white flowers. The note in the box said there'd be more money, a lot more. So I put the car in drive and pulled away from the park. Cranked the windshield wipers all the way up to ludicrous speed and hoped there wasn't any grave digging in my future. It was almost 1 a.m. when I pulled up to the Peace and Quiet Cemetery. The gates were locked, obviously. That's when it hit me that I wasn't just doing something weird anymore. I was about to trespass, breaking the law for a delivery app. My life had hit a new low. When I got there, the metal fence bent outward just enough for someone to squeeze through. The rain had eased to a drizzle, but the ground was soaked. My shoes sank into the mud with every step. The fog made it hard to see, so I used the flashlight on my phone to find the grave with the flowers. It didn't take long. It stood out because it was the only one thoughtfully cared for, with big bouquets of tulips and lilies neatly arranged in front. The light from my phone swung over the name of the grave, and I thought I might puke. Robert Winters, beloved teacher and mentor. Mr. Winters, my high school English teacher. He used to tell me to keep up the amazing work and start class by saying, "Today's a good day to have a great day." He had a heart attack in the middle of class last year. He died. I meant to go to the funeral, but I was hungover, so I stayed home. The guilt bulldozed me. That's when I noticed a cardboard box sitting in front of his grave and more instructions. Trample the flowers. Take the box. You'll need it for your next challenge. Sorry, Mr. Winters, I whispered. Then I kicked over the vases, watched them shatter, stomped on the flowers until they were crushed into the mud. I wasn't proud of it, but I did it. My phone pinged immediately. $800 tip received. $800? That was half my rent. I felt better already. I grabbed the cardboard box, now looking back. In my car, I checked my phone again. A new delivery address and notes already waiting. The address was 1825 University Boulevard. That meant it was somewhere at the college. The notes section said, "Wear the bathing suit in the box and deliver this message." The message was a childish limerick. I opened the box and got a look at what was inside. It wasn't board shorts. It wasn't even a Speedo. It was a bright neon green Borat-style mankini. I dropped my forehead against the steering wheel. What the F had I gotten into? For the first time that night, I actually considered backing out. Monkey bars in the rain, fine. Stomping on my dead teacher's flowers, awful, but at least no one saw me. But this, showing up at a sorority house wearing nothing but a neon green mankini, that was a whole new level of humiliation. I didn't have time for any manscaping. On the drive over, I kept looking at that stupid thing on my passenger seat. It was so small it could have fit in my pocket. But I couldn't help wondering what the tip would be for this one. I pulled into a gas station a block from the sorority house. Changed in the bathroom stall, keeping my shoes and socks on because the floor was disgusting. I stared at myself in the mirror. The mankini straps dug into my shoulders. Everything else was obvious. I looked ridiculous. I threw my sweatshirt on over it just to get back to the car. 3 minutes to the destination. I pumped myself up, saying I was just like the Jackass guys. They did stuff like this all the time, and they were on TV. It kind of calmed me down, until I arrived at 1825 University Boulevard. Panic rushed back and multiplied like gremlins fed after midnight. I was at a sorority house. To make matters worse, the place was lit up like the McAllister house when Kevin was trying to convince the robbers that he wasn't home alone. Music blasting, people visible through the windows. A party, of course there was. I sat in my car for almost 5 minutes, engine running, heat blasting. I refused to be cold, wearing nothing but this stupid green strip of fabric. I almost drove away. Almost. But then I thought about going back to my apartment, facing my landlord with nothing, watching my car get towed away, starting back at zero. Screw it, I muttered, and before I could talk myself out of it, I threw the hoodie in the back seat and ran to the front door. I rang the doorbell and willed myself to stop shivering. The door opened. Tate McRae hit me like a sonic boom. 3 girls stood there holding solo cups. They laughed. I don't know what they thought I was doing. Frankly, I don't know what I thought I was doing either. I squeezed my eyes shut so at least I didn't have to see the reaction when I blurted out, "The angle of my dangle is directly proportional to the heat of my meat." When I opened my eyes, more people crowded behind them. Phones came out. The girl who opened the door leaned forward, looked down, and said, "Not bad," before she slammed the door shut. I sprinted back to the safety of my car. It should have been hugely embarrassing, but actually it was the opposite. It was thrilling. And that girl gave me a compliment, I think. I was even more excited when I checked my phone. There it was, $9,000 tip received. And immediately after was the fourth test. The destination was a construction site. The note said to arrive there within 30 minutes. Take a weak person's wallet. Bring it to the construction site. I threw my jeans on, started the car, and peeled out. The exhilaration and the mankini still clinging to me like a second skin. I didn't have much time, and finding someone at this time of night wouldn't be easy. The streets were empty. I sat at a red light after a few minutes of aimless driving. A 24-hour laundromat coming up on the right. There had to be a sad sack in there with a wallet. Jeez, listen to me. I sounded like such a jerk. But the thing is, I was tired of being a nice guy. Nice guys don't have yachts and second homes in the Hamptons. And they definitely don't get respect. Being a rule follower has gotten me nowhere. Meanwhile, there's tons of morally corrupt people out there winning. I just read a post on Reddit that 1.6 million people cheat on their taxes. So why shouldn't I have one measly wallet? I kept going, taking the mental gymnastics even further. If I took a poor person's wallet, there probably wouldn't be much money in there anyway, so they really wouldn't miss it. There's no way I was going to kiss thousands of dollars goodbye so some wimp could hold on to $10. With that in mind, I pulled into the spin cycle parking lot and strode through the glass door. The place was dead except for one middle-aged woman loading a washer. Crap. I was really hoping there'd be a guy in here. Stealing from a woman seemed like even more of a dirtbag move, but I had to be at the construction site in 20 minutes. I couldn't afford to drive around looking for another target. This lady was it. I sat down pretending to wait for a machine. She loaded her clothes, started the washer, then sat a few seats away from me. She pulled out her phone to check the time. I was stalling. I told myself to man up. I looked at her and said, "I need your wallet." She glanced at me nervously, removing her wallet from her purse. She said, "My brother's in the military. His picture's in here. I kiss it every night for good luck. I know it's silly, but I think it keeps him safe." "I don't care about any of that," I said. I tried to sound tough, but my voice cracked a little. I'd never done anything like this before. She handed me the wallet. "That's it?" I blurted out. "You're just giving it to me? I don't even have a weapon. I didn't even threaten you or anything." She looked down, shoulders hunched. "I don't want any trouble." I sat there, wallet in hand, feeling like the world's biggest a-hole. In that moment, I'd hated myself, but not because I took something special from a nice stranger. I hated myself because I was looking in the mirror. I had been a pushover just like her my whole life. Yesterday, I would have let a guy take something precious from me too, but not today, and not ever again. I strolled out of that laundromat to go collect my tip. As I parked at the construction site with 4 minutes to spare, my screen lit up. Another $33,000 for the wallet heist. I read the notes for test number 5. Climb the crane and remove the safety pin from the turntable. My heart pounded in my chest. This was getting serious, and a lot more dangerous than the monkey bars. I left my phone in the car so I didn't lose it up there. The site was surrounded by chain link fence topped with barbed wire, but there was a sagging section between some porta potties. I squeezed through. The steel crane loomed above me. The rain had stopped, thank God, so at least the metal wasn't wet, but I was terrified. According to the app, I needed to climb all the way up to the operator's cab and remove the safety pin that kept the turntable from spinning freely. I started the climb, using the ladder built into the crane's tower. My grip was already worn out from the monkey bars challenge. 40 feet up, I made the mistake of looking down. I needed to calm my nerves. I'd never been great with heights. 60 feet up, the wind started. Not strong, but enough to make the ladder sway slightly. I gripped tighter, forced myself to keep going, one rung at a time. Slowly, I crawled higher. Finally reached the horizontal arm of the crane. My legs were shaking from the climb. I scooted along the narrow walkway towards the central mechanism. The turntable is a massive circular gear system where the arm connected to the tower. I found it, a heavy metal pin about the size of my forearm. I couldn't ignore the gravity of the situation. I was about to sabotage equipment that people would be using tomorrow. People could die if this thing failed while lifting something. The old pathetic version of me wondered if I had made enough money and I should stop here, where the worst thing I'd done is snatched a photo. But like the gambler who goes all in at the poker table, I gripped the pin with both hands and pulled. It slid out faster than I expected. That's when it happened. The massive gear moved and caught my right hand between the teeth. White hot pain shot up my arm. I screamed, trying to pull free, but my thumb was trapped. The gear wasn't moving anymore, but I was stuck. Blood was already soaking my sleeve. I knew I had to get free. The only way out was through. I braced myself and pulled as hard as I could. The pain was blinding. I felt something tear, heard the wet pop of flesh and bones separating. I fell backwards, suddenly free. My thumb stayed behind, crushed in the gears. Blood was everywhere. I stumbled back towards the ladder. Everything was spinning. I had to get down before I passed out. The climb down was a nightmare. With one hand and the crook of my right arm, dizzy from blood loss, trying not to black out, I slipped more than once. And halfway down, I lost my grip. I plummeted the rest of the way down, a tarp breaking my fall. Instantly, there was a flashlight in my face. Jesus Christ, a man in a security uniform knelt beside me. What the hell happened to you? I fell, I managed to say. My hand. He cursed when he saw what was left of my hand. I'm calling an ambulance. No, I grabbed his arm. No hospitals. No police. You're out of your mind. You need medical attention. Please, I begged. I can't afford it. Just help me get to my car. He hesitated, then pulled me toward the guard station where he had a first aid kit. He carefully cleaned the wound, applied pressure, wrapped it in bandages. The whole time he spoke softly, telling me I was going to be okay. When he was done, he helped me to my feet and introduced himself as Nick. He asked what I was doing on the crane, but I stayed silent. He helped me to my car. Then he said, "Look, I could lose my job for not reporting this, but I've been where you are. Desperate, doing stupid stuff, so I'm giving you a chance. Get yourself to an urgent care at least. Tell them you caught it in a car engine or something." He wrote his number on a slip of paper. Text me and let me know you're safe, okay? I thanked him. I couldn't believe how lucky I was. If it was anyone else, I'd be in handcuffs right now. As he walked away, my phone buzzed from the passenger seat where I'd left it earlier. New message. $162,000 tip received. I hoped it was enough to buy me a new thumb. Then test number 6 arrived. You have 30 minutes to return to the park. But before you do, make the security guard lose his job. The guard's name is Nicholas Weber. Works for Citadel Security. I stared at the screen, at the name Nick, the guy who just saved me. This game was so sick, but I was too far in to quit now. My final destination was the park where this all started. This was the last test. I sat there for a minute, blood soaking through the bandages, thinking. Then I pulled out my phone and called Citadel Security. "I need to report negligence," I said when someone picked up. "I just drove by the construction site on Sly Avenue and saw someone climb the crane. Your security guard was sleeping in his car. I honked, but he didn't even wake up." The woman on the phone thanked me and said they'd handle it. I hung up. Simple, clean, nothing personal, Nick, just business. 15 minutes later, as I pulled up to the park, I received my final tip, $400,000. In the notes was my final message. You got what you needed. Gift the test to another who needs what you've gained. I knew exactly who needed the test next and how to pass it on. I opened the wallet I'd taken from the woman at the laundromat. The name on the driver's license was Sarah Miller, 1422A, Oak Ridge Apartments. I put her info into the app, ordered a pizza, and waited. An hour later, I was sitting on the park bench where the hooded figure had sat when I first delivered to this park. The rain had started again, gentle but persistent. Headlights cut through the trees. Sarah's car pulled in, a beat-up Ford Fiesta with a garbage bag taped where the rear window should be. She got out holding a pizza box, looking nervous as she approached me in the empty playground. "Dibs delivery?" she called out, squinting into the darkness. I didn't say anything, just waved her over with my bandaged hand. She hesitated, then walked closer. I lowered my hooded head, concealing my identity, as I took the Boxmer with my good hand. Opened it facing away from me. The pizza was still hot, steam rising into the cool night air. I handed the box back to her so she could read the same message that had started my journey. When she looked up again, I was long gone. From a distance, I watched her digest the message, her expression changing from confusion to something else. As I limped back to the car, the damp elastic of the mankini I was still wearing under my jeans chafed the inside of my legs. I'd need to do some proper bathing suit shopping for the trip to Hawaii I had planned to take. It occurred to me for the first time that the hooded stranger who'd given me the test might be someone I knew. I liked the idea that this was happening for years, thousands of people passing the test to one another. Each target becoming richer, more confident, and a whole lot more willing to stomp on others to get ahead. Maybe that guy in the Porsche who cut me off last week was winner number 127. Maybe my landlord was number 58. Maybe my old boss was number 216. An invisible network of a-holes all transformed by the same 6 tests, all walking around with hidden mankinis and missing body parts and fat bank accounts. And now Sarah, if she could handle it, would make one more.